Oh, well, hello and good evening, everyone. I first of all would like to just apologize to you that there has been a delay in starting this masterclass just because of some technical, glitch which we just came across. But now that's been fixed, and so we'll just jump on to the topic of our masterclass today. Give me a second here, and there you go. Okay. So, welcome all to this special masterclass on build and deploy web applications with DevOps. Today is going to be a special masterclass with two guest speakers joining us from Bangalore to share their industry experience and help our viewers to understand how they can advance their careers in the field of DevOps and DevOps automation. So, before I start about them, I would like to introduce myself. I am Prateek Vyas. I'm the co-founder at Learn and Build with 11 years of industry experience working in the field of project management. Currently, I drive digital transformation and business marketing strategies for our organization. Okay. Uh, Talking about Learn and Build, guys. So, this masterclass is brought to you by Learn and Build, which is an initiative by Techiness Private Limited, which aims to educate undergraduates and early professionals on industry relevant and most demanding niche technologies and skill sets such as artificial intelligence, data science, quantum computing, Internet of Things, DevOps, cybersecurity, blockchain, and so many other. For today's masterclass, we have a keynote speaker with two guest speakers who would enlighten us with their vast experience of working with DevOps technology and share their knowledge among us. So, coming to our keynote speaker, today's keynote speaker is Ashito Singh. He is the CTO at Techiness Private Limited. He holds 10 plus years of corporate experience. He's been consultant to various Fortune 500 companies, holding an extensive experience of 10 years in the training industry and working over research and development projects for all these companies. He has been a professional trainer and a data scientist. He is relatively unique and he has experience of working with DevOps technology as a DevOps engineer from a long time now. He's got exceptional teaching skills. During his career, he has provided technical consultation to more than 120 major companies such as Walmart, Oracle, Cisco, JP Morgan, Honeywell, and many more. His technical courses are used to train developers in major companies such as Mercedes-Benz, CGI, Wipro, Fidelity, and so on. Ashutosh has expertise in wide range of technology domains. Like I said earlier, he's been working on DevOps, data science, machine learning, AWS, Microsoft Azure, just to name a few. And he has trained over 45,000 plus students in the entire lifespan. Now, coming on to our next guest speaker, Sheersha Jain. She is a software engineer at Uber with close to 4 years of industry experience. In the past, she has also worked with companies such as American Express and Red Hat. Currently, she has been working with the developers platform team at Uber on a crash aggregation system for other product teams at Uber. She's passionate about the beauty, art, and science of creating products that have tangible impact on people's life. She is a product enthusiast by herself. As an associate engineer back in Red Hat, she has worked with Red Hat for almost 3 years. So she worked on insights and cluster storage products. She has done R&D. While doing R&D, she was the R&D lead to make cluster and insight enabled product. She also worked with R&D and product engineering team to identify and develop insights template to reduce support load for both support engineers as well as customers. Now, talking about our next guest speaker from Google, Vamsi Krishna Avula. He is a software engineer at Google with 4 plus years of industry experience. And currently, he is working on search infrastructure of Google itself. And previously, he was working on the food ordering and workspace admin console products. In the past, he has also been an SW intern at Google and worked on Google Mail and Inbox. He completed his BTech from IIT Dhanbad And during his studies, he focused on high impact problems in technology. He loves to work on hard problems in language and time series, be it unstructured or with structured data. So welcome all our guest speakers here. I would like you all to come on the stage to interact with all our participants out here. Over to you, Ashutosh.
Hi, Prateek. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are perfectly audible, Ashutosh.
So thank you so much, Prateek, for a wonderful introduction. And by the way, everybody, hey, good evening. And yes, I'm really excited and nervous also to share my experience. And of course, Vamsi, I can see is laughing. Sheersha is also laughing. In fact, I'm also laughing. So it's going to be a fun session, guys. And yes, you might have gone through the agenda or the things we are talking about. So simply, the first 15-20 minutes will be about the experience, in industry. Like Sheersha is working with Uber, Vamsi is working with Google. So just bringing them here is just not about talking about the technology, but the reality is to share their experience in students' life, right? How can you get benefited from this discussion? So while this masterclass workshop promotion, we were interacting to a number of students, and I got to know what kind of questions they have in their mind. So we collected a couple of questions, and maybe we try our best to answer those questions by myself, Sheersha, and Vamsi all. But the answer or something we are going to talk about is just not about you have to follow the same way. You can take some input from those answers and try to understand how you can train yourself if you are a technology guy, right? World is going really fast, technology is changing day by day, but the main product or main functionality, logic building, mind, everything is all common, right? So first, I really want to understand exactly in a very summarized way the journey of the entire technical thing from Sheersha. Sheersha, I am audible to you?
Yeah, am I audible to you?
Yeah, very much, very much. So how are you doing, by the
way?
Hey
everyone, I'm doing good.
That's great. Yeah.
So technical journey wise, I got into touch with Ashutoshh sir in very early of my college days, like I think second year or late first year. And then he was talking about how we can build our own cloud, and he gave us some demos. And those demos were really interesting, like the idea of building your own cloud from scratch. That is something which seemed very interesting and enthusiastic at that moment. And this is how I started. Then I started talking to him that how can we do it, and then we realized we need to take a step back because we need to understand the basics of Linux first. And that is how I went into the Linux admin things like RSCE, RSCSA, and I did all of those things. And after that, when I had the basic understanding of Linux, then I went into exploring more cloud, like the OpenStack, the AWS, and the Google Cloud and stuff. So this is how my journey started, and from there we started how to do the configuration management, and if we want to do some sort of automation in cloud and stuff, and we need technologies like Ansible and all. So my journey for technology has been really amazing with everything, and yeah, this is how started, and it's still going on. Yeah.
All right. Seems like you're in hurry, but no worries. So a few more things I really want to understand. What kind of work you're doing in Uber, maybe your past company like American Express, or maybe in Red Hat also? Just a few glimpses.
Okay. So Red Hat, I did actually kind of worked on some DevOps technologies because I was working on Red Hat cluster storage, and which is an nodal system, and installing cluster comes with its own challenges, and it's not like just installing a normal software, right? It can takes an order of hours. So and doing it on n numbers can take a lot of your time. That's take a chunk of your time, I would say. So for that, you need some sort of automation, and to configure those nodes, you need some sort of configuration management at handy. So the Ansible I learned in my early days of college came to very handy for that time, and like I was using Ansible there. And right now at Uber, like we are basically, I'm working as a on the developer platforms of Uber, where we are doing the like continuous build over the crashes we are getting. So yeah, they're kind of also sort of CI/CDs in place, which is required to you have a basic understanding of how configuration at a production level works, and it'll come handy in later of your life. Yeah.
All right. That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Sheersha. Thank you so much. And yes, coming to Vamsi, guys, everybody. I mean, I just want to understand, and from myself also, that being in Google, it was a dream, long back for me. But I really want to understand from the Vamsi point of view, how exactly you guys are working. It doesn't matter which domain. So you can talk about your journey inside, from college to Google, just in a few words, right? Yes, Vamsi.
Um, sure. So I think like starting with college, it was sort of happenstance, like that I picked computer science. But like once I started, like learning, like I initially started with Python and I was hooked into it. Like I was like, writing some sort of code, like pretty much any day. And even like getting to interview with Google was happenstance. Like one of my seniors just asked us like, hey, I can like refer you guys if you want, like just send me your resume. So it's like, okay, sure. So like then I got an internship, and then I had that conversion over like at the end of the internship. And then I've been working here ever since. I think in terms of like the dream company, yeah, I mean it was a dream company for me too. But like once I would still say like most aspects of Google, right, like what you think of as good are still like all of them still apply. But like one thing I think very important, which maybe like people outside don't realize, is like the strong culture we have, where it's sort of like unspoken rules, like everyone is like very helpful and stuff like that. I think like really makes a difference.
So what tech you use to enter into Google? I mean, it can be programming or anything, but just the entering thing, because maybe the viewers whosoever attending this webinar masterclass, they really want to understand the building blocks of tech they should start with. It doesn't matter they are going finally with cloud, DevOps, or whatever, but the building block to join companies like Google or maybe any competitor, what should be the pretty building block or basic stuff?
Right. So I think like there's like various roles at Google, right? Like depending on your interests. But I would say the most important thing is to like get your basics right. For example, let's say you're a programmer, right? And let's say you're into Python. Like learn the language well. Then once you do that, then it's just a translation to other language, right? Like let's say you're into like DevOps and you are learning like Kubernetes, let's say. And but internally what we use at Google is completely different from Kubernetes, but it's the same, like the building blocks that you were talking about, right? Like the same concepts. So once you learn something well, it's just a translation. Oh, okay, yeah, this is how we used to like, you do it in Kubernetes and that's how you translate here to like our internal systems. Or let's say you learn, for example, I was programming in Python in college, but once I joined in Google, I think most of the time it was Java, now it is C++. But most of it is just a translation, right? Oh, okay, yeah, that's how classes in Python work. This is how it works in Java. It's so yeah, and yeah, I don't know if I sort of answered your question, but I would say it's about understanding the basics like don't gloss over the details.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. And
But
then it's just a translation.
I have, seen few more people who are really, recommending that data structure and something is also really important, because when you say learning programming, a lot of people have their, specific mindset. Okay, I need to learn this and that. So how data structure is gonna play a role if someone want to, join or go for cracking interviews, company like Google?
Yeah, so I think like whatever, for better or worse, our interviews focus on, like data structures and algorithms, like the sort of problems that you would see in, like, let's say uh, some competitive programming contests and stuff, for the software engineering roles at least.
Okay.
And I think um, so like to get started with stuff like that, I mean, at first it might seem daunting, like there's a lot that you don't know, but I would say like you just got to start with this, right? Like there's or anything in general, like data structures and algorithms, or like or you want to work on your own projects, like you have an idea and you don't know how to like translate that into a project, or let's say you're interested in machine learning or DevOps or whatever. um, I would say like the most important thing is to just get started. Like there are many helpful courses like this one, or you can just like Google Google a lot, right? I mean, it's almost like a cliche, but you just got to start and then just Google a lot, and figure your way out through all the noise. And I think that's one of the most important skills.
Yes,
Um,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
I mean, it
really.
might seem like a non-answer to just say, yeah, just Google and figure it out. But I think it's really like an
I'm getting it. I'm
like
getting it.
underappreciated skill. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I got a lot of questions. I mean, not very much I'm going to ask. First, I would like to ask Sheersha. Sheersha, I mean, a student, one of our student is asking how internship and the doing project inside the internship within the team is, helpful to, join any corporate culture. Sheersha, this is for you.
Okay. So like doing internship is really good. Depends on when you are interning. Like it's always good to intern early in your career, like when you're in third year or fourth year. It gives you like really good perspective of the company, and it's give you platform. And even like don't be afraid of being an intern after your college. Like I was an intern in another company when I was in college, like a PRO, and then I wanted to switch into product management. So after my college I joined Red Hat as an intern, because at that moment of time Red Hat was not taking freshers as full-time employees. So like having the certificates like RSC and RSCSA came into handy, because I had already the knowledge of Linux with me. And once you are an intern in a company, you get to know the infrastructure of the company inside out, not just in the technical way, but also in the cultural way. And
Definitely.
also it gives you like so many other teams to apply in as well. Like if you are really good and if you're really enjoying your current team, you can keep working there. But also it gives you like the internal flexibility to switch within the company, and it gives you the ease of mobility to join whichever team you want. So don't internships are, I will say, like usually from some colleges I see that people think it's just like formality to do in third semester, like third year of their college, but it's not. It's just way more than that, and don't underestimate it. Yeah.
Okay. That's great. So yeah, I think we have almost seen a couple of things. One final question from my end, Sheersha, for you. I mean, because you are one of the alumni for us, and the kind of work you are doing, really, I'm really happy. I'm really happy that you switched companies, but the way you learn and the way you promote yourself, working hard, late night meetings and all. So, I really want to understand, the kind of culture or technology trend or, kind of training we have here in L&D and the entire thing. So how much that helps you to at least kickstart your career?
Right. So there is a huge contribution in my career of yours, of course, because there are a lot of technologies. Like I couldn't have gotten into Red Hat if I didn't have those RSCE and RACS certificates handy, because I reached out to some recruiters of Red Hat and LinkedIn, and they were like, hey, we don't hire freshers, but if you have some sort of Linux skills to show us, that'll make sense for us to take your intern, right? So those certificates give me a upper hand. And there are a lot of technologies I learned there. Like in my third semester when I was interning with Ecom India Cloud IT, we were working on clouds, and that also came from the cloud I created at here, right? Like we did created our own private cloud, and we worked on the OpenStack thingy. So
I do remember those days.
yeah, so those gave me a confidence to build up from scratch and how things work at production level, from scratch to production. And even when I got permanent at Gluster, and we were solving these configuration and automation problems, and again the things which I learned from you guys came really handy for me, like Ansible and other stuff. And even today, like I go back to the basics, how we used to solve problems, because we were never going theoretically, which normally other coaching institute do. We were always working and trying to do and break things, and that's what that is the core skill of doing things which I learned from there, which comes handy today at my day-to-day life.
All right, that is wonderful.
And thanks a lot for that.
Yeah, really appreciate it. So Prateek, you have something to ask from Vamsi and Sheersha, because I got a few questions and I'm done with this. So all right, to you, Prateek.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ashutosh. Thank you so much, Vamsi and Sheersha. These were really great insights about you guys working in the company, how you have reached so far, and what your plans are going forward. So we have our viewers have been very curious to ask so many questions to you. If you go on our YouTube stream, you will see that they are bombarding us with a lot of questions. So I'm just going to pick some random ones out of them there and see if you can answer them. So Harshvardhan just wants to know, in case if you, Vamsi, if you want to answer this one, that is it Google Bog that they are using in place of Kubernetes now?
Yes, it is. I believe there's a paper on that, but Borg is not new, by the way. Like Kubernetes is the new thing. Like we just never adopted it. Like Kubernetes was built for open source, whereas Borg was built for Google, if you will.
Okay. So Abhishek here wants to ask another advice from you, Vamsi, that, what advice do you give for a working professional, coming from the software domain, having a 3 years of experience, how he can transition into an Sde role at Google?
Right. So I think, don't quote me on this, but I think at 3 years, we're still, the interviews are very similar to, a new grad interview. So it's still going to be like an SD1 or SD2 offered. So they're still going to heavily lean on data structures and algorithms. Depending on the role, but let's say if you're applying for an SRE role, then your ops skill come into play. If you're applying for a software engineer role, then they're going to heavily lean on data structures and algorithms.
All right, thank you so much there. Now, the next one comes for you, Sheersha. Here somebody wants to ask, how to get an internship at Google, at Uber.
Okay. So right now, if you go to LinkedIn, we are hiring newly grads as full-time engineers as well. So you're welcome to apply there, or you can literally reach out to any HR which is there on LinkedIn. People will be happy to refer you, because we are seeking for new grads as a full-time. And for internships as well, we are highly open to hire interns from colleges. So if you see any open role, you can can like feel free to reach out to anybody on LinkedIn. Like I personally, when I'm trying, I go see recruiters for the respective company and I try sending them the link of the job I find in my resume, and that is how you go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, Sheersha. One more thing which I want to add from our side is that Sheersha is a part of our alumni network, and so is Vamsi. And these guys are there in the community, wherein you guys get a chance to become our community members. We have our community available on Discord as well as Telegram. So join us there, and you will get to interact with all our alumni. They would help you to get placed in their organization, whichever company has an open positions, or active alumni actually help us to pass on the information to our current learners, and our current learners can actually get in touch with them and prep themselves up for this. So this is one insight. And there's a very generic question, but again, Sheersha, I would just like to bring it to you. Somebody wants to know like how to research on technologies. What is the right way of researching technologies?
So like depends on what tech you are researching. As Vamsi said, start with Googling. Like this is where you start, right? Like it's a very underappreciated skill. And you might like go read the research paper, which is already there for the technologies. Like read all the research which has been done. Find your area of interest where you are interested to take your research forward. Try to try to get in touch with people who are working on those areas. And there are multiple communities, right? You can search on LinkedIn and like you can reach out to people. There are lots of research paper where people write their contacts, and you can try reaching out to people. And yeah, this is how what they are doing and how your work syncs in with them. And yeah, like that's pretty much it from my
Okay.
side.
Thank you, Sisha. There was one very elaborate question related to Red Hat ecosystem. So that's the last question I'm going to take, and perhaps I'd be able to answer him. But in case if you want to add on to something, just let me know. So here Saurabh wants to ask that he is in Red Hat certified RHCSA, RHCE, and he's got a certification on Ansible automation and self storage, and he's in third year right now. So he's asking, can you help him with a full-time role in Uber or Google or Red Hat also for the DevOps role? So yeah, like
Um,
yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so like if you want to like interview for Uber or Google, like only certification wouldn't help, because you have to have the knowledge of uh, data structures and programming as well. So like you have to be strong at those aspects as well if you are looking a job as a software engineer. But if you are looking as a DevOps engineer or a SRE, like you can again you need to have the basics clear with these things, and then you can always find the job and reach out to the respective recruiter with the resume, of course.
All right, that's really wonderful. Thank you so much, Isha, for answering all these questions for our viewers. I'm so sorry we are, a little late on the time. We need to really start with the learning part of the entire masterclass, so I cannot take any further questions. But I would suggest you join our community, ask their questions over there, and our experts and mentors will really help you out. Ashutosh, do you have more questions for them, or are we going to jump onto the technical aspect?
No, I think we are already running out of time. A lot of
Okay.
things to show and discuss.
Okay.
And I believe they guys are also having their own,
Right.
things sorted. So I think it's all done from my end, Pratik.
Okay, so just one last part for both you, Vamsi and Sheersha. It's a word of thanks from our entire team. Like on behalf of the whole Learn and Build team, guys, I extend a very hearty, thank you to you, to both our guest speakers, Sheersha and Vamsi, for sparing your time from your busy schedule and to grace us with your presence and sharing your experience working with DevOps technology. We feel very fortunate in your company, and the information which you guys have shared was quite an eye opener for all our learners, even for me, for the matter of fact. And surely all our aspirants are going who connected with us would feel the same way. So with that said, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to interact with you soon later.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me over.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Sheersha and
thank you.
Vamsi. Thank you, guys.
Thank
I'll
you.
see you
Thank
post
you,
session.
guys.
Yeah.
Have a great
Bye.
day. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Vamsi. Bye. Over to you, Ashutosh.
All right. Thanks, Prateek. And yes, I think I'm audible and visual. I can see my YouTube live stream also. So guys, welcome to this masterclass. I am thinking like, yeah, maybe you guys have all the ideas, not all, but at least a few knowledge about how things are working in real industry. And definitely when we talk about Google, Uber, or Red Hat, the way we should reach out to any company in terms of learning and understanding is first to done with the basics, right? So here in this masterclass, I'm going to give you the 360-degree idea inside for a company, what they're looking for. So kind of job roles and the journey you should start and you should take care, because since last 2 or 3 days, I'm actually interacting with Sheersha and Vamsi for the same thing, like how we can help people to get the right path. Okay, so you might have seen the same thing that yes, we are going to discuss about the DevOps and data engineering. So let me just turn off my video first and going back to my share my screen, and yes, right there. Okay, it's page by this. Fine. So this is the one. Of course, I'm gonna open that learnandbuild.org or maybe .in, and here you might have seen everything, right? How you have joined and all. So basically, we guys are working in AI, data science, and DevOps space, and today we are really going to talk about how you can pick the right things in technology if you are in one domain, and the same idea you can replicate in every technology. So for example, if our today target is DevOps with data engineering, right? With data engineering, so how you should start, and I'm gonna talk about a few technologies, and I will try to demonstrate them so that you can understand the power and how people are actually understanding everything, right? So first, if you want to start with any technology, right? Any means any, it doesn't matter you are either want to be a software engineer or DevOps, cloud, database, or whatever it is, the very much first thing you should start with operating system. Okay, I'm really not sure that how many of you are learning operating system the way Google, Uber, Red Hat, or any other companies are looking for, because it's just not about installing. See, what I have seen is in my life when I was learning operating system in my college days, in fact these days also, so people used to use Windows, Linux, or Mac, and if they are watching movies, installing software, installing operating system, few small troubleshooting, and they think they know Windows, they know Linux or Mac. Okay, so first of all, it's just not the way we should start with. We really need to understand how exactly operating system interact, and because every technology starting from programming, cloud, DevOps, AI, and all, every technology you need to run on top of operating system itself. Until unless you are not understanding that operating system, it is really not possible that you are going to get the insights. Imagine ऐसा मान लेते हैं, I think हिंदी इंग्लिश कंफर्टेबल होगी, पर नहीं है तो मैं ऐसे कंटिन्यू कर देता हूँ. इमेजिन कि अगर आपको ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम की नॉलेज नहीं है, राइट, so you cannot understand the behavior of machine learning, AI, or DevOps with OS, because try to understand this operating systems is compatible with very simple program like VLC also. Okay, you can watch a movie by using my CPU and RAM. So when you are watching a movie or video, you are using few part of OS, but the same operating system can also be used to do Python programming. So as a programmer, I write the code, but what we also need to understand is really important. And what we also need to understand how Python is interacting with OS. We are interacting with Python and how Python is. So this kind of, very detailed level things will be required if you really want to understand the entire tech, right? And similarly, when we are using, DevOps or data engineering or all things, so we are learning these technology. But anything you imagine, finally, they will be landed on operating system. So it's really important to understand that, okay? Second thing, it doesn't matter from which domain you are, like DevOps, data science, engineering, or whatever. You should always choose one programming language, not as a career. You just choose one programming language. Try to code just for fun, right? Just for fun, because until unless you're not doing that, definitely, you can understand the back end of it. For example, how VLC is showing the streaming and how my browser is working, how my, this paint is working. To understand their working process, you need to understand the, logical building behind the scene. So simply, we can try to understand each and everything in the similar space. Okay, so I won't take time much, but yes, I'm directly jumping into the agenda that we are having. So if I'll start from there, so first of all, when I say DevOps, right? When I say DevOps, so basically, this is not a technology, okay? It's literally not a technology. So don't think that it's a tech, right? It's not a technology at all. And when it's not a technology, then what it is? Actually, DevOps is a culture. How people should work in this industry 4.0 or in this 20th century, this is about DevOps. So this DevOps is a combination of two different job roles and profiles. One is developer, people who can program. So let's say if I talk about myself, I do programming Python, not much, but yes, I do. But I do programming in Go and other languages as well. So I like personally Go because of number of reasons, but I want to understand the behavior. Second, ops. When I say ops means operation engineer. And this category, I want to put into anybody who are not doing programming. So for example, if you are a networking engineer, right, you handle with your networking stuff like routers, firewalls, switches and all. And maybe if you are a DBA, you are pretty good with database administration. And maybe you are a system admin or maybe a system engineer. So whatever profile you carry, in fact, one more role I just want to mention, a cloud engineer. Whatever operation team you handle or you're doing, so to understand both perspective, we need to integrate these two skills. Let me tell you how. See, for example, if I talk to a cloud engineer and I'm saying, okay, do you know how to start a virtual machine or a Windows 10 operating system in one of the cloud platform like AWS? Okay, so I'm assuming that maybe you guys are already understanding about Amazon Cloud. So any engineer or whosoever, they already understand, okay, yeah, I can do that. So what they'll do, they simply go into their portal, it's very easy. I'm not showing likewise, but yeah, they will choose, click, blah, blah. Just, few clicks game. I just click and blah, blah, and it will be done. As I'm already running a number of virtual machines here. So any cloud engineer or anybody who's working with Amazon Cloud or maybe any other thing, they can do that. But being a cloud engineer, what they can't do. For example, Just to make it easy, let's take an example of your college lab, okay? And second is cloud. So launching a virtual machine or an operating system in cloud is way easier than eating food these days, simply. But in a similar space, what if in my college lab I have 100 PCs, and to my any software engineer, I can ask, okay, please install Java in all 100 PCs. Now there are two things. I literally can install Java, that's not a problem. But installing Java in 100 PCs is a time-taking process, So it doesn't matter either you install Java or myself gonna do the same job. Time is the key. Similarly, if a cloud engineer want to launch, let's say, 100 virtual machines, right? In fact, they want to install some software, they want to deploy some website and everything, they should understand how they're going to do that. For this purpose, the skill of a developer and plus skill of operation engineer is going to take place. So simply, let's say developer already understand that if I want to repeat a job for 100 times, so developer can understand, okay, do me one thing, let's use either for or while loop concept to perform some task, same task 100 times. Because they have already their experience with .NET, Java, PHP, Python, C, C++, and all, and they do understand, okay, if I want to repeat something, it's just a cup of tea, right? But when you ask to them, okay, you have to install Java in 100 PCs where we have Windows 10 or where we have Windows 8 already. Now you realize this thing, being a software programmer, and you already understand while and for or other looping concept, it will be really complex job to understand, okay, how I can iterate my for or while loop to install Java or maybe any other software in 100 of PCs. So you will be, thinking about that. And maybe it's a challenge for you that if you have, college PCs, whenever they will be open, you go and try to perform this thing. You have to install this thing by writing some code. You will definitely feel some complexity, because what is going on behind the installation process that your operation engineer might be understanding, but you don't know how to use this, and you don't know how to integrate with system. Because as of now, the kind of programming you guys are doing is you are taking one system, installing program, running things, and everything is happening in the same machine, like printing hello world, printing stars, and everything is going on in the current system. So that's where one of the thing is coming in the picture, right? So definitely we will be taking care of this thing and how DevOps can help. So what I'm saying is simply, when these two skills need to be combined, the new culture came in picture, and those culture you can call as DevOps, a kind of culture where people are integrating those two skills. And in fact, developer don't have to go for understanding the installation process, and likewise you don't have to go and understand the entire process to installation process. Okay, so now under DevOps we have lots of tools and technology that can make your job easy. Okay, for example, let's say I have this web application code. Okay, I have this web application code, and that code is written in Java. Okay, maybe a couple of you already have that idea, okay, how Java is working and all. See, this is HTML page. This is very normal program. It doesn't matter how big it is. and it's a Java code, and in the back it's a HTML code. Okay, and in back to this we have some more Java stuff. Okay, so what if I want to do it live just right away? Okay, right away. So I am going to do one thing. So let's say I'm a developer and I write the code in my system, and this code, let's say I'm storing on somewhere called SCM. Maybe you guys will be already having that idea if you're gonna store it on GitHub. Okay, you're going to have this GitHub. So GitHub, everybody know where we do store our source code and all, like this here. And now you save that. Now this is your personal web application or website. You want to make it live right now. Okay, you want to make it live without any delay. And the moment you change here, if you change something here, you don't have to wait for, because see, if I'll tell the reality, in general, first I make the change, then I do something, then I go back to my engineering team, and they're like, okay, give me the code. They will build, run, and deploy in server. You know that a people who is good in website designing, he cannot be good in other hosting platform and doing that. Rarely it happens. And what if something is happening more than that? So now DevOps is helping in such a way. If I'm making changes here, it will be live automatically. Okay, so for example, whatever I'm doing or I'm making changes, I want it live. So behind the scene, how things will be happening. Okay, how things will be happening. See, so now let me take that diagram, and then we'll go with the demo. So as a developer, when I save my code in any of the source code management system like GitHub, I need to set the entire setup here, entire server here. So first there will be some software and tool who will be keep monitoring this GitHub whenever there is a change. And when there is a change, this software can pull the change, test it, and if it is okay, then we are going to deploy it. Deploy means make it live. So the right or correct word is, after testing, if everything is okay, we are going to deploy it. And this entire process is going to be without any human interaction, no human touch. Okay, except the writing part of the code. Definitely we need humans to write the code, but the moment you save it, you just do like that, and now this software is going to be deployed some here automatically. Okay, so maybe a couple of people already have that idea, but this kind of technology where we are saving the code, then we are pulling the changes, testing it, and test is fine, then it is making it live, deploy, or I can just call it live. So this entire process in DevOps culture, in DevOps technology, known as CI/CD. Okay, that is continuous integration and continuous deployment. CD also stands for delivery as well, but yes, continuous integration and continuous deployment. And this stack have a lot of technology. So what kind of software and DevOps tools we can use to do CI/CD? Means continuous integration, means the moment developer is making changes, it is going to deploy here, then again here. Okay, so there was a company called Oracle. Oracle created one product called Hudson. It was a really nice product for CI/CD, but because of closed source nature, people who are not able to use that, then the open source version of Hudson, Jenkins come in picture. Now, what is Jenkins? It's a CI/CD tool that can keep track of your changes and then pull the changes, test it, and if everything is fine, it can deploy it on your servers or maybe anywhere else, right? I mean, where you want to plan simply. So Jenkins is one of the software. Hudson is also. Even more than Jenkins or Hudson, there is one more CI/CD tool that is really much popular these days, and that is Azure Devops. So Azure Devops is having a million skills that Jenkins and Hudson is not having, but definitely Jenkins is one of the basic that you can start with. Azure DevOps is a kind of father. In fact, other tools like TeamCity you can use. So I'm just giving you a few names. Maybe you want to learn in somehow by your own. So for CI/CD, Jenkins, Azure DevOps, TeamCity, and these kind of stuff you are having. Okay. So definitely, when you do this, they can build, test, and they can deploy. But now, when it comes to deploy, and we are going to deploy where? See, server. But server needs to be there, right? I mean, there is no server, then definitely you cannot deploy it. So where we run our websites, we run our website in server. And when we run our website in server, I'm going to talk about that thing in a while. So for example, this is my website which is already running. Okay, if I'll cross check in my backend system, right? So I can just see taking my IP address of my server, and here this one colon 31522, and the name I have given like /learn and build. Okay, see, this is a normal page. I can write username like hello or Ashutoshh, and it's a simple program like learn for printing table, and this is running in form of website simply. Okay, and when it is a website, what if this website is already live and my developer want to make some changes? So let's say this is me, and being a developer, I'm just going into my index.html and I want to make some changes. See, so if you're not a developer, don't worry, but yes, as a developer, I can make some changes. Let's say I want to change in my body part, that background. I want background like devops.png. I already have one image file uploaded, and I'm just changing some code. And let's say if I'm updating it, changing front end image only. See, when I do a commit, means I make the changes here. Background is equals to devops.png, and where is devops.png? It's already there. Okay, if I go back to my Jenkins, see, as I told you, I make the changes as a developer in GitHub, and I already have Jenkins installed, and that is doing this job. So if I'll go back to my Jenkins machine and refresh it, right, and here I'm going back to this just to cross check. See what happened 2 seconds back. 2 seconds back, something happened. And if I just cross check it here by refreshing, maybe it may take some time after making some changes, but because I have scheduled for 5-minute or 10-minute job. But see, the image building process is happening, then deployment is also happening, and then rolling out, it was the green line, a few seconds back, because it's just not a very much easy one to see all those changes. But yes, if it is happening, I may have to wait for a few more seconds. But yes, see, I just made the changes in my code, okay, and I got that. In fact, let's say, just to show you, I can write a few more changes here. I'm going back, and in fact, this IP and port number you guys can use. This is the IP address colon this port number /LNB. And let's say I'm making more changes here. And let's say, welcome to Jenkins, the CI/CD tool, right? And more change. Just saving that. The moment I save, see, as of now, there's only welcome message, right? If I go back to my Jenkins, want to understand, okay, how my Jenkins is going to detect everything. So see, every time, the moment I make the change, this server, this pipeline tool, CI/CD tool, is running somewhere else. Okay, definitely you need to understand the connectivity. So we really cannot discuss the connectivity in right away, but here you can see. If you see here, so image build, image deploy, see the blue line, deployment is happening, and rollout means we are upgrading the website. See, we are upgrading the website, and in the backend, things are going on. And if I refresh it again, see, welcome to Jenkins, the CI/CD tool, and this is live, right? These many servers are running, and things are happening in the backend. Okay, so simply, this is happening. By the way, if you guys are having more questions, we will be taking by our Discord link. But I hope you are understanding the meaning or the fun of CI/CD. Means continuous integration and continuous deployment. So any changes that I'm going to make here, it will be the part of this live. So you can imagine how DevOps is actually making our life easy. So this DevOps has a lot of tech stack, a lot of domains. And the one we talked about, that was CI/CD. Okay, developer will write the code, developer will save the code somewhere in some of the system. Then we can use any of the CI/CD tool, means continuous integration and deployment, like Jenkins or Azure Devops and all. Okay, and if you might have seen our course content, we do have Azure Devops in our agenda for this thing. So make sure you're listening everything as it is, because what, we'll be having a quiz and question. On behalf of that, we'll be getting certificate. The next technology is, you really need to understand, is automation engineering. Okay, in automation, what we can automate. What if I don't have servers? I'm a beginner and I have this is as my code CI/CD, but I don't have server. I want to provision, I want to start, I want to create server. So see, creating managing server for single developer is also a big deal. So what if I want to automatically launch resources, okay, and automatically launch like VMs, and then install something here? Because definitely, if I'm making some changes here, my server is already running. And what if they are also not running, and I have to start these many virtual machine and then after starting these many virtual machine, I want to install all the Java and everything, then those things is going to help out, right? So simply, if I want to do automation where I want to plan my resources, or I want to create number of virtual machine, here let's say, just to show you, if I switch my account from North Virginia to Ohio in Amazon cloud, right? So here, what if I want to create multiple server in this particular reason? This is my Amazon account and I want to create this thing. So how I can do that? This is not the job of CI/CD, because CI/CD was checking the code, and after that it was deploying on some predefined server. But what if I want to define, or I want to create servers? For this thing, we have some automation tools like Terraform. Okay, like Terraform, like Ansible. And like Terraform, Ansible, we have Puppet, we have Chef, and many more things. So in the world of automation engineering, where we want to create number of virtual machine, CPU, RAM, hard disk, so many things, we cannot create one by one for number of people. Definitely Terraform, Ansible, Puppet, Chef, these are automation tools or automation system, right? And we can literally use them. For example, let's say I want to create 5 virtual machine, I want to install Java there. Then doing it again manually, I told you, installing 5 virtual machine and 5 OS and then installing Java is gonna take time, right? So simply, this one is here. Your Terraform, your Ansible, your Puppet, your Chef, and everything, these are tools. But the one which is really best, if you want to create resources in virtual machine, in resources and all, then simply this is the one. Terraform is one of the most popular tool to create and provision resources in cloud or in non-cloud environment as well. Okay, so simply what I'm saying is, if you want to understand that also, it's also a part of this thing. But anyway, because how these tools are going to provision resources in virtual machine in cloud, we need to write some code on behalf of them. And that's why this entire thing we are also calling as IAC, that is infrastructure as code. Means to create or install operating system and virtual machines, we can write code. We can write code, and the moment we write code, it is going to deploy those things here. Okay, so simply for CI/CD we were using Jenkins and all, and if you want to create number of virtual machine, install something inside there, creating some OS and all these things in a bulk, then you have to use some automation tool like Terraform, Ansible, Puppet, Chef. And this kind of tool needs some code, because you need to write the logic. And that's why this technology we are also calling as IAC, means infrastructure as code. We can write code to provision things. For example, if I'll show you, there is one of my server, and this server is here, and I'm going to my DevOps folder. Here in the tech, I actually have some Terraform codes for you guys, and in the masterclass, this is the code. And what if I want to create, let's say, 5 OS or 5 virtual machine in my Amazon cloud here, right? So I literally I have this much line of code by Terraform, and I can deploy it. Right? So this session, guys, will be available. I mean, you can take the snapshot to understand this, and this session will be available. So what I can do simply, I'll go here. Rather than Python and Java and something, I can write Terraform plan. I want to plan, see what is going to happen. My Terraform will check from my system and is saying, okay, 5 VM we will be adding. 0 change, 0 destroy. So when I do Terraform apply -- auto -- approve, what is going to happen? See. So Terraform, I really cannot talk about, in details, but you can try to understand. Terraform is connecting to Amazon Cloud in the backend, and now these instances will be created in few fraction of seconds. Okay, so if I go back, this is in creating state. I go back to this portal, refreshing it. See, wow, right? So, the companies like Netflix, Amazon, Uber, and many more, in fact, Google. So if you really want to understand the science behind the scene, okay, so Netflix, Uber, Google, Red Hat, they have huge team. They have, more than 20,000 developers, and nobody is going to spend the time, okay, I can create virtual machine and OS for you. I can upgrade my system, that team will be taking care. So we are not investing time much in those things. Rather, we use this technology, like we write code to, provision the resources, right? Simply. So this is happening. And what if I want to destroy? So I can do the same thing by destroy. Okay. So the moment I do that, it is actually again connecting to my cloud. The backend is already being set up, how it is going to interact. So that's how we learn, a number of things. And it is now destroying, right? My dominant color is little not good, but yes, you can check about that. And if I go back and refresh it, shutting down and delete. After shutdown method, the all instance will be terminated. See, so now try to understand why I'm saying this is infrastructure as a code. So the same code is getting used for creation purpose, and the same code is also getting used for decision purpose, just by changing few actions simply. So what is automation engineering? We need to prepare machines, resources. We want to install some software, a number of virtual machines and something like that. Then for that purpose, we can use some automation tool, and we can also call them IAC, infrastructure as a code. Terraform is one of them. Rather, I can use Ansible as well, but Ansible is not as good as Terraform when it comes to, creating resources on cloud or non-cloud environment. But what Ansible is good at, it can perform the jobs. It can install things, it can take backup, a number of other features Ansible also has. But yes, this is one of the demo that you can try to understand. So overall, if you try to understand, then simply under this DevOps culture, CI/CD was one of the part, automation was one of the part. Now, there's one more thing. So for example, according to your own understanding, see, if in your college or in your office, you're going to create around 50 OS installation or festive virtual machine in PC, it is a time-taking process. See, purchasing new hardware and installing operating system on top of them is really not that much easy job. So rather than planning this infrastructure or things in your local system, better to plan it on some cloud environment. So I'm not saying DevOps is directly related to cloud, but literally you need to understand the cloud concept practically, because those 50 systems is going to take time, PCs or laptop or virtual machine in our college or in our system. But in cloud environment, it is a game of few seconds, not even minutes these days. And you have seen the Terraform is doing amazingly. So now, as per your own choice, you can go for AWS cloud, you can go for Microsoft Azure cloud, or maybe you can go for Google cloud as well, right? So simply, this is going to be happen. And I am using Amazon Web Services, this cloud, because you can literally use this in very much easy way, and it's also free for some time. Okay, so cloud computing is something that is giving you space, to provision your resources like this, and then you can do things accordingly, right? So I hope if I just re-summarize everything. So when you talk about DevOps, it's just not about any single technology. You need to understand the skills of cloud computing. You need to understand the skills of operating system. You need to understand the skills of CI/CD, and you need to understand the skills of infrastructure as a code, and specifically for automation purpose. Okay, and these are all the things that we guys are doing in our summer internship. So if you're willing to learn, you're most welcome, and we can train you in a very much better way by doing some hands-on projects, right? So IAC is again one of the part, but apart from this, there is more things, right? There is more things. For example, if I talk about Netflix, how the companies like Netflix is doing that much amazing job when it comes to understanding of user experience and provisioning the number of systems. So for example, Netflix, or maybe I can take one more example, let's say Spotify, or maybe some payment gateway app like Just Pay. Okay, so to explore a couple of things, they want operating system process plus code, everything to be created on few clicks, on few goes. So if Netflix is having more than, let's say, 100 lakhs user per second, then whatever infrastructure they are having, it's not going to help if the number of users is going to increase. Imagine that if 10 people are watching Netflix and Netflix has a server set up for 50 people, then up to 50 people Netflix can serve. But what if the number of people gonna watch Netflix is 100, and on the real time it is not that much easy that you create your cloud virtual machine, then you install software, then you set up your databases, then you set up your code, and everything is going to happen on the real time. Because in fact, if you use DevOps tool like infrastructure provisioning and all, what process is slow? See, if you talk about operating system part, then installation plus start time plus software installation time, software setup, I can say, plus software testing, plus security testing, plus creation of this, and finally deploy. And if you're doing it for one system, and it will take time, because these things is going to take time. It doesn't matter how you're doing, but these things itself are time taking. So in the above example, if you try to understand this thing, Netflix is now having 100 users, and the kind of capacity they were having was 50. So how they are increasing the number of systems and code and software testing, everything in a few fraction of seconds, because suddenly the user base is going to increase. It's really not easy to manage this glitch. So for that purpose, if you don't want to invest time much in OS preparation, software installation, and all these things, so what I'll say simply, rather than using your PCs, laptop, or server, or virtual machine, VMs, we can use the new thing called containers. Okay, so now you try to understand the the thing. In fact, if you have your laptop and PC and you want to start them by power button, you need these days 8 seconds to 3 minutes, according to your own processor speed and operating system. Maybe if you have some Linux based system, they can be putting up in 8 seconds, Windows 10 also, but up to 3 minutes just to start. I'm not talking about installation and everything, just to start. And same for servers, same for VMs also, depending on how much big software you're using. Now the time is running out and people are preferring containers rather than PCs, laptop, server, or virtual machine to deploy our code to run these things. You can try to understand and use containers. In fact, our website learnandbuild.in is also running in containers. Now, what is container? So in a one word, it's a very tiny instance that has only a required part of operating system plus your code. That's it. And it is very tiny. And you can create container, in fact, in less than 1 second. In fact, if you want to create container, let's say 100, then 100 containers you can create in 1 second or in 2 seconds and 5 seconds. And every container will be having the only required part of OS plus your code, and it can be your database and anything like that. And why container is getting that much popularity? Okay, just to understand that, let's say if I'm gonna ask one question, you want to run your simple Python code or maybe Java code in your OS. You want to run simple Python code in your OS. Then what you do first, you have a laptop, you install Windows 10, or you install your Ubuntu or Mac system, Linux or Windows. And these operating systems are too heavy in size because these operating systems having so many unnecessary software that is not required by your Python or Java. Let's say, do you think that your Windows 10 is having Notepad? Windows 10 is having My Computer, Windows 10 having is Internet Explorer browser, and like that, thousands of things are present in Windows 10, and none of them is required by Python or Java. See, it doesn't matter that my Windows 10 or my Mac or my Linux is having browser or not. There is no relation if I want to run only Python programming or only Java code. So how containers is changing life? See, so Google is using containers since very long. Okay, and in fact, Vamsi was talking about the Borg product. Borg. This is internally Google is using, and this Borg is entirely using containers since more than 10-15 years, not even 1-2, more than 10 to 15 years. And what is the benefit? So Google has optimized everything very efficiently. Example, if I want to run my Java, HTML, or maybe let's say Python based application, I need OS required part. Okay, plus definitely the code. And if that much part will be there, definitely I can only say the OS size will be decreasing. In fact, if I will start operating system, it has my code and only few programs that is needed by my program. Let's say if I want to deploy some random website. So for example, sample HTML code. Okay, just to show you how fast it is, I'm taking any example, sample HTML code in GitHub, right? And I have few few codes. This is not by me, you know that, right? I can take that code simply. Okay, and what if I want to make it live right now? You try to understand. I want to make it live right now, and so let me tell you the process. Then you understand that. I have a code. It's a website code, and that is right here. It's not by me. I just search it on Google, and I want to make this live. In the word of containerization, see, if the same thing is going to happen with your PC server or virtual machine setup, to make it live, you need time plus resource plus a lot of more things. And definitely it will need more time and more second. But the same thing is I'm going to do with containers. Okay, if same thing is I'm going to do with containers, I'm telling you, in this process, you may take up to 1 day. Up to 1 day, depending on things. And at least you need an hour time to plan everything. Okay, security and all, including every single thing, security, planning, infrastructure and all. I am gonna take, let's say, not more than 30-second time if my internet speed is good. And in fact, I can start this thing. See, first of all, I need to have the code. So what I'm doing, I am just cloning that code. Fine. So get pull, and this open source code is here, or not pull, actually get clone. So I'm just taking this code right here, and I'm making it name, let's say web app. Okay, this is my simple name. Under this web app, we are having exactly the same thing. See, license, index.html, image and style. exactly the same thing. And now I'm gonna, start a timer. So let's say Google timer. Okay, and I'm setting time of 5 minutes. Okay, you can see how much time it's gonna take to me to make this website live if I have the code ready. Okay, because I take it from here. So I'm starting this. See now, Docker. I'm creating a container -p 891080-v/web app to usr share nginx html. Typing is very slow, and then nginx, and I'm making it enter. So done. And if I check Docker PS, it is running. Going back to my cloud, taking that IP address. It got deployed, but still I'm taking time. Like, okay, I need to find out the IP address and all. So I'm going back, and it was 8910. Taking this machine IP, and here copy 8910. See, live. And in fact, you can try. And still, if I stop this, it got deployed in less than a minute, but finding IP was taking time. So this much ideal time means 2 minutes, few seconds I took to make that website live in front of you. And you can imagine, I told you, few seconds. Typing things is really something else, but definitely this website, in fact, you can open that code to cross check. And what I did in the backend, don't try to understand the process, but the thing is, I did this, just did. Okay, and this much is created an operating system required OS plus code, and things are running very smoothly. So who can create containers for you? Who can manage containers for you? So in DevOps, definitely, when we talk about containers, there are a number of technology we can use, like I used Docker, or other like I can use Podman, Rocket, and all. But Docker is the one that is very popular to, in fact, create containers accordingly. Okay. So Docker is really popular in terms of creating container and doing things accordingly. And guys, this is the power of DevOps engineering. So see, you need to understand the entire process in very much efficient and normal way, right? But you can see how fun this is to create these many containers. In fact, I can create container. Let's say I want to create, let's say 20 containers. So I can write a for loop sequence 20, and look at this. Docker run itd, and then I can use my OS and some, that's it. And if you just see, done. So in around near about 20 to 25 seconds, these containers will be created by using Docker technology. So I told you a container is only OS required library plus your code. It can be your database as well. It can be your any scripting as well. So this will be done. And look at this, near about these many containers are running, right? These many containers, boom. And you can go to any container if you want and talk to them. Like the name of container is something very weird, but see, I'm here. I can say, okay, what is the IP address? Can you connect to google.com? Yes, I can. Enter. And in fact, I want to remove the container man, and it got removed in fraction of seconds. Okay. So you really need to understand the level of things going on by Google or other companies who are making these technologies these days, right? So just to summarize each and everything, right? Just to summarize each and everything, what I'm saying, when I really talk about DevOps, I'm personally working in this, domain and area since the day the DevOps came in picture in the market, right? And adopting this technology with respect to this current time, like we are living in 2021, is really fun. It's really fun. Like, so I'm working with container, Ansible, Terraform, Cloud, Python, Golang, OS, and everything. And it gives me that boost and power that I can manage this. And why I'm recommending you guys to start with, because this is the one that you can change to do some normal thing in your life as well. Example, I recommended my team learn and build rather than creating server PCs, laptop on Amazon or maybe in other data centers. Let's try to make our students learn in that way, that our website itself, trust me, this entire website is running in a single container. And the container is very smart. If more number of people are creating or accessing this website, that container will be automatically scaled. So let's say if you guys are trying to access by 50, so we are implementing that technology, that number of container will be changing from 1 to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. This implementation is not done yet, but yes, at least this website is running in a container. And that's how we are promoting our students and people. When we itself are using our products in a container, definitely we can promote that. Okay, so simply, and you'll be having that kind of demo also. And in fact, one more final thing that I really want to talk about is, imagine creating containers. Container creation process is honestly not the job of more than 1 second. See how? So if I am creating container like this, so just imagine creating container like this, 1, 2. Okay, see, writing command is not a time taking process. If I'm hitting enter, done, enter and done, you can see that, enter and done. And my same website is running on 8912 also, and it's same running on 10 also. In fact, I can go in any of the website and make some changes on the live, on the live time, without worrying about anything. User share Nginx HTML, and I can remove this to hello guys and change. See, let me refresh it. Change, right? So doing things on the real time is really fun. But when the container creation and management process is not time taking, what if I'm having, let's say, 10,000 containers, and every container is having its own web application or maybe database, maybe any Python code, any Java code running. So don't you think so that remembering, okay, which container is having what website, what database, what code is really a big deal, right? Because I can create container in a click, but which container is holding which website, remembering and managing these things is really a big thing, and big, in fact, time taken process, right? And when it is time taken process, it's going to be a big deal. So to manage these container, and in fact, we need more containers from 10 to 20,000, 20 to 30,000, and again, 30 to 15,000 if we don't need them. Who will maintain this? So to manage and maintain and scale and fix all container related things will be done by the most amazing Google product called Borg. Okay. Yes, right. So we have these kind of technologies when we have 10,000 container in the beginning, and if the user are increasing, then we need to scale these container up. So definitely some technology will be there. It's not going to increase automatically, right? Only a single container can increase resources, but these container, if you want to scale it up, the original product by Google was Borg. But as Vamsi is saying, right, Borg is not for general people, right? You guys can use the open source product called Kubernetes. So in fact, Kubernetes is the one that is going to take care of entire container scaling, security, scheduling, automation process. So if you want to, scale container from 10,000 to 20, 30, or maybe want to restart container, deploy it, then Kubernetes is the open source version of Borg. So in our courses, if you see here, in fact, in our Techinist website, you might go to this one. This summer internship we are taking is all about these kind of technology discussion. So definitely, if you go to our summer internship program, and here you go a little more down. This one is, by the way, not running in container, but yes, this is running in container. So internship, if you go down, and you will be seeing our projects. So like the second project, data engineering over cloud with DevOps. And you can see here kind of things we are covering, including Jenkins, Kubernetes, automation, Azure Devops, Docker, Spark, Databricks, and many more things like that. And all these things will be done in this way. Okay, so you can go and try if you want to join that one. And this is entire learning guided path. So we are having number of things, number of people, and these are the companies and organizations we have trained these technologies to them. So simply this is a Kubernetes. In fact this entire thing is Kubernetes, and the website I showed you, that one is itself running in a Kubernetes, right? Simply. So when the website is running in a Kubernetes and on top of containers, so that means we are already using that one, right? These containers and website is getting created and it's running in Kubernetes. You can see that this is all, and this Kubernetes got connected with Jenkins. So in a one word, if I would not take more than few minutes, how this thing is happening. So assume myself as a developer, right? A developer. And here as a developer, I make the changes in my GitHub, like I did in this page. Okay, then whatever changes I'm making, this is automatically detected by my CI/CD machine. CI/CD machine, right? And here we are running Jenkins. And where is my Jenkins server, by the way? If you check here, this machine is my Jenkins machine. In fact, Jenkins is also running in a container. Okay, so now Jenkins will be detecting the changes, and the moment the changes happen, Jenkins is going to test that. Okay, to test, you can see here in my Jenkins, I have created few projects. Like the moment you are making changes here, the code, Jenkins having the build process. And the build means, yes, we are building container. And after building container, if the test and everything is happening fine, then we have a big Kubernetes cluster. So if Jenkins is satisfied with the build process, then we have this Kubernetes cluster, KTS. After build, it is going to deploy. And this deployment is creating container. So this thing, this thing is for deployment on Kubernetes, right? Now, when deployment happen, what if I make change another time? Again, Jenkins will detect, again will test. Deployment happened already. I need to upgrade website. And for upgrade purpose, I have upgrading pipeline also rolling out. So the moment I make changes, in fact, from my machine to GitHub, Jenkins is detecting, Kubernetes is there, planning these things in a good way. And definitely when I can check, let me just edit the changes again and see how Jenkins is deploying on Kubernetes by using this file C. And that's why we're calling infrastructure as a code. So this is the code that Jenkins is using to deploy things on Kubernetes. Okay, and this public repo is available. You guys can just type on Google github.com/space and you get it simply. Okay, so if I make one more change finally, just to show you here, let's say editing this, and welcome to GitHub CI/CD tool. We are supporting containerization and Kubernetes very much. I just make the changes and let's say updating page, committing the changes. The moment I commit, see, this workflow is going to happen. As of now, there's no change here, right? But Jenkins will detect that thing. And if I refresh that Jenkins again, first, within 1 minute or so, my build process will be triggered. Okay, this building process. After building, deployment, and after deployment, rollout. So maybe you can keep looking here when the build process will be triggered, because I think, yes, I made the changes. Right? I made that change, yes. Going back, and within few more seconds, see, the deployment is in queue because my building may be in the process. Yeah, deployment is going on, and when the deployment is going on, the rolling out is in the process. And the upgradation with this is done also. Okay, now I can refresh. So yes, we are supporting containerization and Kubernetes very much. So that's how this entire cycle is working. And we can provision more Kubernetes machines, minion machine, by using Terraform or Ansible. So in short, what I'm saying is, if you're going to join that internship program for students, you can learn this entire pipeline process, including Linux and many more things. By the way, so this was a demonstration from my end. Okay, now if you want a certificate from here to attain this masterclass, what you have to go in learnandbuild.in here. And in learn and build, in fact, I can open our YouTube channel also. So here I can share that link, learn and build. And in this one, if you go to masterclass, right, and this is your masterclass already, and if you click here, you have the access assessment. You need to click here, and you already have your username and ID. If you don't have connect to our team, then you sign in here, and after sign in, you'll be having a quiz. Okay, make sure you attend this quiz, because how things we have made, the moment you attain the quiz, automatically certificate will be downloaded with your user ID. Okay, so you have to go in learn and build our main website. If I just take on going back to our live masterclass in this quiz. Oh my God. How things we have made. Okay, I'm just the moment you attain the quiz, I think chat is automatically certificate will be down. Can I? No, maybe I anyway. It's not very much responsive for me, but anyway, see, you just go there, go to masterclass, click here, and then access the assessment. Your ID and password will be shared with you, or maybe you can contact to our team. Then you attend the quiz, and automatically certificate will be downloaded. Okay, and in fact, if you have any query regarding anything, we are having our community in our Discord, and in Discord you guys can join. So from the people you got the registration and this link, they will be sharing this Discord link with you all. You guys can ask your questions right here, without having any problem. So I will be answering you all the questions. In fact, if you want to understand all point of view, this learn and build channel, we have a community of student and other alumni as well, and here you guys can join. So the link will be shared by the team already in the email or whatever method you are connected to us, and then you can join there to ask you queries regarding this masterclass. Okay, so this is all from my end. In fact, see, I can tell you frankly, I'm not saying you can learn everything in the masterclass, but the whole and sole point was possibly you guys are understanding the angle of DevOps engineering and things like Ansible, Terraform, CI/CD, infrastructure as a code, Kubernetes, Docker, and these terms. And in fact, these are the things that we are covering in our summer internship program for DevOps batches. Okay, so I hope you guys have learned something. If you do, just keep connected to us, and please connect to our Discord channel. In fact, this code is available for you guys if you want to people who are already having that domain of Docker and Kubernetes. This DevOps masterclass has this Java code, in fact, this YAML file, and how you can create images, this container file we already have. So you can download the source code from here, and maybe once you join, we'll have everything like this. Okay. So thank you so much, guys, for joining, and I hope you might have learned something. If it is not, okay, you can reach out to us to what exactly things you're looking for. And by saying this thing, bye-bye, everybody. Enjoy your Sunday. Be safe. And see you next time in some other days, right? So thank you so much, guys. And I really appreciate that due to some technical glitch, there is a delay. But yes, I'm really thankful to all of you that you have joined from various sources. And bye-bye, guys. Good night.